I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weirdos in this story.
Like a song, like a sailor snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow. Hi everyone, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we're continuing on with our conversation about etiquette when it comes to asking a witch for something. Or purchasing a witch. Or something.
Purchasing something
From a witch, yes. So we're going to be talking about etiquette when it comes to purchasing spells and other forms of magic from a witch. I just want to start out by saying there is a meme going around Facebook, or has gone around Facebook, that I absolutely love. And was said something along the lines of, when you ask a witch for something, it's always polite to bring some sort of offering. Whether it's money, and if you don't have money, that's okay. People used to give chickens to witches.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a sacrifice. I mean that as
hedge witches. They lived outside of society.
Exactly.
They did magic for the people in town. The people in town paid them in eggs, chickens, goats, depending on the level of magic.
Right. Tea, whiskey, anything. Something to
something
offer
of value. Yes.
Something of value.
Yes, because it shows that you value their work and their abilities. Because why else are you coming to this person for magical workings if you have no value for what they do?
Right. And I think it's also acknowledging the fact that doing readings or spells, readings, any form of magic takes energy.
Yes.
It takes a lot of energy.
And outside of the cost of the tarot cards or oracle cards for a reading, or runes for a reading, which is a one-time cost, if you're asking for spell work, there is cost along with that. Whether you're having a cord cutting spell done for you, I mean that's herbs and candles and string and energy. If you're having a spell jar created for you, that's herbs and crystals and salt and energy
and
the jar.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's like,
and
there are materials that they have to, we can't just pull candles out of our ass, even if we make our own candles.
Right. And
even if we harvest the wax, we had to upkeep the bees, you know what I mean?
If you bring all the ingredients, everything to create the spell, will there still be
exactly?
So, I know bartering used to be super popular to the craft, because like you said, witches used to live outside of
society,
town.
so they needed have cash money. Yeah,
exactly. Oh well, I need a good laying hen because mine got ate by a fucking coyote,
or she stopped laying, so I ate her for Sunday dinner.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very important, and I really love that as a witch personally. Which we'll get into the purchasing online and things like that. But as a witch personally, I wish it was more. I wish it was easier to be able to do the bartering when it comes to magic work, because I would personally rather do that than exchange for money. Yes. Unfortunately, because we live in the society that we live in, money is probably the most likely, unless you're friends or know this person personally, and you can work something out. Like Amber does painting. Not like, what do you call it? But Amber does paintings. Or if you know somebody, for example, that does something that you need in exchange. Somebody makes their own incense. Okay, well then maybe you can give them a reading in exchange for incense. Something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love that.
Well, and I mean, beyond that, it's like bartering is a great way to go about certain things. And, because like you mentioned my art, I do barter my art at festivals for other things, for gift purposes. And, I think I have, no, it was for herbs. I was going to say I bartered for spell work, but I didn't. I bought spell work myself, but it was for herbs. My bad. I did a painting for
I'm
herbs.
just going to be lame and say I love the aesthetic of being that witch that carries her bag of herbs and is like, I'll give you this 3 ounces of lavender if you give me
this roll of twine.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Unfortunately,
it's like being a tinkerer.
It is. it's very ancient.
Yes.
That's what I
I
would
mean,
call
it's like a hedge witch. I
It
mean,
is,
it's exactly
yes.
like a hedge witch.
Or a
Like,
kitchen witch for
you
me.
need these herbs.
Yes.
But I mean, like, I specifically say hedge witch because that terminology comes from living beyond the hedge. The hedge is what protected the society
Right,
from
exactly.
wilderness. And the hedge witches, they lived outside of that. So they would barter
Mhm.
herbs to people who they could see, like, you are in need of this, and I'm in need of this thing you
Right.
have. So, here is this basically medicine.
Right.
But back then it was herbs or tinctures or whatever she had made and bartering it for the things that she needed to live out over the hedge.
Well, and for me, like, I bring up the kitchen witchery, and I'm like, look, I'll make you a loaf of bread for a crystal, a nice ass crystal. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, or I will make you
Yes.
a something or another.
I mean, I know for a fact you and I have traded candles for oils.
Yes,
Like I make
exactly.
oil blends, you make candles,
Exactly.
and
But this is more
know.
like something that you can do with a local community or
Right,
someone you know personally. Unfortunately, online bartering is not really a thing. I
Right.
wish it was, but you can't trust everyone.
This is true. I was about to say, like, bartering is a thing online if you know the person well enough to think that they'd be receptive to it, but don't reach out to somebody who's a professional magic maker. I mean, essentially, and ask them for spell work, and you're willing to give them your book in return. Some people that might be good with. They might absolutely be okay with that, but like, test the waters first. Don't offend someone that you're asking to do spell work for you
Right.
by not acknowledging their time and effort and basically their own money that's going to have to go into it.
Well, and don't demand that your spell be done on a certain time unless, and I'm going to say unless you have agreed ahead of time on it being done by a certain time. And then maybe someone needs a little bit of a push because you know how people be. And even
Right.
so, be a little like, be understanding,
Right.
because like you said, you don't want to irritate the witch that's going to be doing the spell for you. But the witch should also be responsible.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
responsible enough that even if that person is annoyed by you, they wouldn't like make something backfire on you.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like if you are requesting a spell that has to be done by a certain time, certain moon phase, certain month, the proper etiquette would be to reach out to a magical practitioner with plenty of time to give them, because you can't assume that you're their only client. You can't assume that they don't already have their own workings that they might have to work on in that time frame. If you're wanting something that specifically has to be done on a full moon, you shouldn't do it 5 days before the full moon,
Right.
and
Maybe
expect
a month
them
in
to
advance,
do. Yeah, at least a month in advance, because like, what if they have a 30-day turnaround and full moon phase is 28 days? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if especially if a lot of spells have to do with the moon phase. So it's like, if it's a specific moon phase and you want it done during that specific moon phase, you need to plan ahead well enough. If you're having somebody else do this for you, you need to plan ahead well enough to give them plenty of time to be able to provide what it is you're asking for, because they might have 4-week turnaround times. You know what I mean?
Well, and I also want to say, this one goes out to the people offering paid magic. What was I gonna say?
Be clear on your turnaround times.
Be clear on your turnaround times, and if you simply can't do it, then don't put too much on your plate, and then get upset when someone's expecting it.
Right. Yeah. Or don't overbook yourself. You know. I mean, because it's like, for instance, October's a busy month. We all know it is, right? So like, you have your own personal workings you want to do.
Right.
You know that you're going to get X amount of customers wanting workings done. Don't overextend that. October's only 31 days. You know what I mean? Like, it just is what it is. There's etiquette on both sides of that plate, right? But it's like, you as the person requesting the magic working should be very clear and upfront about what your expectations are with that working, and what your expectations are with a timetable. And if you and the practitioner can't reach an agreement, don't be mad about it. Like, they may not have the time, and that is perfectly acceptable, because if they are literally doing this for a living, then one would hope that they are fully booked, and good for them. Then that means they're making a good living, and that's
Right.
wonderful.
Well, and don't be upset. Don't throw
Yeah.
a fit. Don't.
But your lack of planning is not my emergency.
Exactly.
And with magical workings, especially ones that go by, like you have to collect something at midnight or this, that, and the other, and you want it done the traditional way, if you're not willing to do it yourself, then do not be too overly zealous in your expectations of someone else, because it's something you're not even willing to do.
Well, and I want to say, I think that a misconception people have is, well, I'm paying you to do this, so you're going to do it my way when I want it done. Maybe that'll work with I don't know, a waitress, I guess. I mean, it shouldn't work with a waitress, but
Right,
it's
I'm
definitely
like-
not going to work with a
With a witch, yeah.
Like,
Have you ever heard the term pagan time, guys? Let me tell you about pagan time. Pagan time means time is not real, it is but a construct of man. Time is not of the essence. Time is what I fucking make it. And sometimes I'm not going to make it on time because I'm pagan.
well,
That's like how most pagan gatherings go,
problem
just in case
is-
anybody's curious.
is witch used to have respect. People used to have respect towards witches. And it's like now, for some reason, and I blame society and how we are, people want it now when they want it. Doesn't matter who you are. This is how, like, it's very, very selfish.
It is very selfish. And here's the thing, like, just like you shouldn't expect them to work on your timetable if you're not giving enough proper time for whatever it is you want. Don't expect that anybody is going to be willing to do the working you want if you want to harm another person or if you want to summon a demon. I personally stopped selling sigil work because some jackass bought my $10 sigil. I sold them for $10, guys. Like $10, but it was my magical fucking working, and I was just trying to like cover basically the costs of my equipment because I used specific paper and envelopes, and I like made it real pretty for when you broke open your sigil and did the thing, and I wrote out the instructions and how to use it in case people weren't familiar with how to use sigils. And this little ass wagon wanted me to copy a sigil, but
It wasn't even your
my
sigil.
sigil. Yeah, it
No.
was copy a sigil that was in existence when what I put as the description of what I do with my magical sigils is that I, as an artist and a writer, combine my two favorite things with magic and create sigils out of what you want for your intention. And that is what my sigil work was. And this guy wanted a specific sigil for raising a Jewish demon. And I did not copy the specific sigil because at first I didn't even know that that was a specific sigil. So I read his sentence and created a sigil based on that and discovered that there was an actual sigil he wanted me to copy. But I'm not going to do that. And I'm sure as shit not going to tie my energy up with
Right,
you trying
why-
to summon a
Well,
demon.
that's my question: is why, if he knew the sigil, why didn't he just do it himself? Why did he reach out to another person? Because
Probably he didn't have faith in his own ability
That,
to
or he
create the
didn't want
magic
his own
working.
energy.
Or
tied
he
to
didn't.
it.
Maybe.
You know,
like,
and I'm not saying that's the case. Maybe it was the first one, but I know for a fact, because unfortunately this is a common thing. If somebody wants somebody to do a darker working, or they want to do a darker working without that karma attached to it, they'll ask somebody else to do it, not realizing that's not how that works.
that is bad etiquette, guys. Like,
yeah.
if you want something dark to happen, you damn well take it upon yourself and go to the shadows and do that shit. Don't ask somebody else to do it. Especially for, like, I'm sorry. I sold my fucking sigils for pennies. Like, honestly, $10 for a magical working. I literally just did it because I enjoyed it. And then he asked me to summon a demon, and I stopped after that. Like I stopped.
Yeah, you completely quit selling that.
I did. Like I did not like that at all. Like I find it highly rude that you would ask me to enter into an energetic bond with a demon, especially for $10. Like,
Exactly.
also fuck you for leaving me a bad review. Like,
Because you wouldn't do
because
that.
I wouldn't do it.
I
Yeah,
know, that's ridiculous. Again, going back to the conversation that we had our previous episode, leaving bad reviews on a witch, whether it's telling people or it's going online and leaving a bad review, simply because you don't like the way they did their working, or you don't feel like it didn't work. Well, first of all, how do you know if it worked or not? You didn't give
right.
it. You got to give it enough.
You got to give it time. But also, the universe does what the universe does. So you pay somebody to do a working, and this individual doesn't get hurt. The universe just didn't want that, and you're probably going to get hurt later. I'm just saying.
No,
Because
literally.
yeah,
Right. No, I totally agree with you. Is there anything else
that mostly it's just like don't ask, like
don't be an asshole.
don't be an
That's what
asshole,
it is.
but like don't ask just because somebody's a witch. Do not assume that they're okay digging in the mud for you. If you want some dirty work done, do your own dirty work, because I just think it's highly inappropriate unless that witch advertises themselves that way. Like if that witch is basically like Beetlejuice, well then they're advertising that they'll fuck shit up for you.
Don't assume,
and then that's fine.
Don't assume every witch is comfortable doing that.
Exactly.
Do the research on the witch you're about to hire.
Right.
See if your energy, because I feel like so often people go on Etsy, they're like, oh, this is $5, click. They don't do research on the witch themselves.
Or read the description of what they're buying.
Or read the description of what they're buying. So I guess my advice for purchasing magic, just as a whole, readings, anything, whatever, would be to go to that witch's shop, go to that witch's page, really look into who they are and what they do and what they're advertising, and see if you feel a connection, a click with that.
I
witch.
agree with that.
Which I don't think many people do. I think a lot of
No.
people are really quick.
And I
They're
mean,
quick
and
to
that's
click.
totally cool too. Because like maybe your friend told you that this person did, working for you and it's working well. And so like, or for them and it's working well. So you want to go with that. And that's totally understandable too. Like, I get why a lot of people don't do what you're talking about. I think what you're talking about is a good idea.
Mhm.
I know most people probably wouldn't even think of it,
Mhm.
but it is a good idea to like find a witch that you click with if you're going an online route. Or maybe most witches that are doing workings, a lot of them have like TikTok and shit. Like, go watch how they do their work. Go watch what it is they're willing to do. Watch what it is they're willing to say about the working that they're doing. Maybe they spill too much tea for your sake. You know what I mean? Like, do research. I'm always talking on Your Morning Witch about educating yourself, doing your research. We talk over here all the time about doing your research, educating yourself.
Well, and I think
this is a place where that's really important.
I think so. I think it's also
I think
really
you're
important to educate
Absolutely right.
yourself on the type of spell you're going to do,
Yeah.
or you're going to ask someone to do.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, you should still educate yourself on the spell. And just because, let's say you want to hire someone to do a love spell, it's very important to educate yourself on what could go wrong. Now, granted,
What you're asking for.
right, exactly. Now, granted, some witches, not all, will send a message and be like, hey, fine, I'll do this reading, or I'll do not this reading, but this working, but I want you to know that here's the possible outcome. I'm not liable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. For sure. No.
Which would be important and smart for the witch to do.
Yeah.
Because, like, look, someone hires a love spell and now all of a sudden they got a stalker. Well, this is your fault. Not that I think it would, like, hold up in court. Like, well, she's fucking
You
me.
did a spell for me? Yeah, I would hope not.
Oh my god, no, it holds up in court for the stalker. Well, it's not my fault. She did a spell. Oh my fucking god.
Oh my god,
Why
that's
did
the
I
nation
say
that we're going towards. Oh god.
I know. Yeah, but is it wrong? I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong every time, but I'm saying I could see people
I don't think
making that shit up. Like,
I would hope that nobody would be found, well, maybe the stalker's found guilty, but the stalker can't blame the witch. And honestly, if you get stalked
Oh my
by the
God,
person that you
no.
asked for a spell on, like, maybe you should just back your shit up.
is that not exactly how the Bible was? that's why witches were prosecuted, because they said, well, I stalked this person and maybe I raped this person, but this witch put a love spell on me, so they're the problem. And then who gets fucking prosecuted and sometimes unalived? The witch.
Because of the church, which is why, yeah. But so
Let's not go
hopefully
back to
not-
that.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the future we're
We just
looking
did
at.
a
But
full circle.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, don't assume that everybody's okay with mingling the energy that you're asking for, but also question, like, if you're not comfortable doing it for yourself, why would you ask somebody else to do
Yeah.
it? But then I get to the further point, which really isn't the point of this episode, but at the same time, anybody can work a working for themselves.
Mhm.
So consider if you want to use the craft, learn the craft. That's the last thing I have to say. I wasn't
No, I think
expecting
you're
to end
totally
it that way,
right.
but I was just like, well, you know, you can do your own things.
I just want to say sorry to my YouTube viewers. I was on my phone for a little bit. I feel so rude, but I've got a newborn. I was on maternity leave for a while, and I've still got a breastfed newborn.
Yeah, you guys don't know about that. That was just our break, but
Yeah.
our normal break.
Yeah. Oh God, you're right.
Yeah, because we uploaded videos and everything.
I just felt like I had to address that because I felt so fucking. But anyway, if you didn't see that and would like to, check us out on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe.
And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Good Pods, or any of the other platforms, please like and subscribe. That way you can be notified of all of our new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday, except during our summer break.
Except
They don't
during
come out
Maddie's
then.
maternity leave, we already had 2. No,
That was it.
seriously, that's never happening again. I'm so confused. Both of us, same fucking thing. Unless it's Amber, it's not happening for me. We're not doing that.
My youngest child will be 18 in January. No fucking way.
No maternity leave. Anyway,
Knock
you can
on
find us on
all the
Facebook, Threads, Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot.
You can find us on the X at Classiest Witches because we are the classiest witches you know.
Want to give a shout out to Melissa,
Victoria,
Pam,
and Death by DVD.
You guys are awesome, and if you want a spiffy little shout out as well, you can support us on patreon.com//Witches Talking Tarot. All right, bye.
Thanks for coming to sit with us for a spell. Sorry about my